Welcome back, everybody. We are back with the Sootopolis City Draft League. We are in week 3. I am joined by KD. Congratulations on your win earlier in the stream. Some very exciting Series 13 action. How you doing today? I see you got a fun hat there.
I do enjoy my hat, everyone, and my suit. Just got home from work, but I'm glad to be here to broadcast the last of our game for this week. I'm very excited to see the couple of games left.
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate you having you here this week. This game, we are featuring Zelda versus Torviv. Zelda is a member of the Silage City Colossals, and Torviv is on the Castelia Copers, and this is a deciding match for them for this week, so it should be very exciting. So let's take a look at the teams here. We have Zelda, who had a lot of success in Series 12 with with his Colossal team, and he got drafted for 7,500 on the Colossals, so a very well-known and established player. They have some VR World Cup. They were in the VR World Cup top 4 with Australia. They won the Melbourne region champion. They were the Melbourne region champion, and they were the world runner-up in 2017, as most people know them. And then, Katie, would you like to introduce Torviv?
Yes, and Torviv over here is no slacker to basically be in the overall highlight. So we have the 2020 AUIC top 4, which is a very impressive feat, if I must say so myself. And then in 2021, we have the VR. He actually won the VR World Cup champion with Spain in Series 10. And then another VR Sinnoh, the top 8 for BDSP. So both players, I'd say, very well known, like very overall got a lot of great results right now. So I'm very interested to see how this game's going to turn out overall right now with these players.
Yeah, and then for this week, the Colossals are currently up 4-3, so this win will secure them the week while the Copers are looking to get the draw with this game. And the Colossals are right now sitting at 0-2, so they're hoping to get in the win column with this win. And the Copers are trying to, I believe they're 0-1-1, so they have a tie and a loss. So they are trying to avoid another loss in the loss column. So very interesting match we have here. And yeah, let's without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the match. So we get some pretty interesting teams here. We saw that Zelda was rocking the double terrain team, and the Torviv has the, I'm forgetting, it's waiting to load up. It has the Porygon 2 and Incineroar with the fake PG team. So interesting leads here. We have the Incineroar and Porygon opposed by the Urshifu and Rillaboom. So this Incineroar is a threat of a knockout from the Surging Strikes if the Rillaboom decides to go for a fake out into the Porygon 2, or the Urshifu could try and get as much damage off as possible with something like a close combat into the Porygon. So this turn appearing to be a matter of who decides to fake out what.
Yeah, and judging from both turns, so it's a very interesting position because obviously Rillaboom does normally have the fastest fake out, and then P2 definitely does not want to take a close combat, even at -1 from this Urshifu, because I believe it might be a 3-shot, I believe so. But then again, we'll see what happens on this fake out right now. So we see the fake out into the P2.
Yeah, so the Rillaboom is going to go ahead and fake out the P2, and the Incineroar is going to go ahead and match the fake out into the Urshifu. So we're pretty much going to see nothing happen this turn. Urshifu is going to heal up with the grassy terrain, as is Porygon 2. You see the Porygon 2 makes it back up to full health, and the Urshifu does not. So we'll see if Torviv decides to go for a defensive switch into the Incineroar to avoid something like a Surging Strikes, and yeah, see how they decide to adjust.
Yeah, because that turn just now, we all love that, like turn 1, both double fake out, so nothing got accomplished that turn. But we do see the Rillaboom was going to probably go for the parting shot right now into the Incineroar, probably predicting a switch out into, I'm going to assume like a Fiend or Stack Attack in the back right now, so we'll see the switch into right now.
Yep, Tapu Fiend going to switch in to the Incineroar slot, going to take a Surging Strikes very well from the Urshifu, and this Porygon 2 should be pretty free to go ahead and set up a Trick Room this turn. It's not under enough threat with the intimidated Urshifu, the close combat, and the Urshifu is going to go ahead and go for a Surging Strikes. It should be into the Tapu Fini, as it does. It's going to do probably about 20%, maybe 15% in total after both Surging Strikes hit, so a very good prediction there by Torviv to go ahead and save their Incineroar for the back and take that Surging Strikes with the Tapu Fini. The Rillaboom's going to double up, go ahead, go for a U-turn and pivot out into something that'll be more suited for this, what's likely going to be a Trick Room here. we are going to see them go ahead and select the Incineroar, rocking that Citrus Berry, and also giving us a peek at what else they have in the back, which is that Landorus. Incineroar is going to come in, going to give them some fake out pressure for next turn, which might be nice to sort of stall out these turns of Trick Rooms. Going to go ahead and get an Intimidate down on both sides, and this Porygon 2 is going to go ahead and set up the Trick Room.
So right now we now see the Trick Room being set up by the P2, but right now I'd say for Torviv's side, obviously now he has Fake Out live, so the Incineroar can easily go to Fake Out the Tapu Fini, and then the Urshifu just kind of get more chip damage down on the P2. So we'll see what's going to happen this turn. We do see the switch out into probably the Rillaboom, okay, to get the terrain control right there as we see. And let's just see what the Rillaboom does.
Yeah, Zelda probably not wanting to take something like a Tri-Attack from a Porygon 2, which would do significant damage into the Urshifu. We are going to see the Fake Out go into the Tapu Fini, like you said. Not going to let it set up anything like a Calm Mind. And we are going to see an Ice Beam. Does that into the Urshifu? It is. So Torviv correctly predicting the Rillaboom to come back in and getting some massive damage off there with the Ice Beam.
Yeah, the Ice Beam turn just now into the Rillaboom from the Urshifu stuff was massive, because now we know Ice Beam is a 2-shot now on the Rillaboom before any terrain recovery. And it's bad because if the Rillaboom goes down, then Fini gets free range right now to kind of go crazy in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Torviv still has the option to switch back to the Incineroar to lower the attack of both the Rillaboom and the Incineroar. So able to save that Tapu Fini for later and keep firing off moves from this Porygon 2, especially with that +1 special attack from the download boost. So we'll have to see what Zelda goes for here to sort of reposition and avoid too much damage from the Porygon 2. And we are going to see the Porygon 2 go for another Ice Beam into the Rillaboom. Let's see if it's enough to pick up the KO. It is. Wow. So Porygon 2 proving to be a huge damage dealer in this early game so far. And Incineroar is going to go for a parting shot into the Porygon 2 to sort of mitigate the damage that it's already done so far.
Yeah, but Porygon getting the kill on Rillaboom right there, that's a big, basically I'd say win on Torviv's side, because he got rid of the biggest threat to Fini. So now just from the Pokemon Zelda brought, I'm not sure how he really gets through the Fini plus the combo of P2 right now, and we saw the Dazzling Gleam for the KO, predicting the switch right there. So not looking so good right now.
No, not looking too good for Zelda at the moment. The single target Dazzling Gleam going to go ahead and take out the Urshifu on the switch in, and yeah, I don't think Zelda has quite the pieces to finish off this Tapu Fini, especially with Trick Room up. I think maybe something like a Sludge Bomb from Landorus would do some good damage, but who knows what else Torviv has other than that Incineroar in the back that could probably finish off this Landorus. So we'll have to see if they can play out of this. I mean, the game is not over. There are turns left, and if there's anything, oh well, apparently that's not the case, as Zelda is considering the forfeit. Gonna go ahead and lock it in. You know, maybe there was some way to work out this win. One thing I've learned with Spike Muth is you can lose something really early on in the game, but you can still sort of play your way out of it sometimes. But Zelda gonna go ahead and save the information here and just move on to game 2.
Yeah, just because the P2 with the Ice Beam there, that's the one thing Lando never wants to see, an Ice Beam P2, because just right there, I'm not sure how they were going to get rid of P2, because P2 was just a monster taking all the hits, Fake Out, just everything. Just P2 was living all the hits right there, and then Fini next to it doesn't make it any better. But I'm curious to see how they both basically adjust for the game 2 right now, because in the game 1, Torviv was definitely in a pretty big commanding spot right there for most of the couple sets. Right, we did see the turns.
Yeah, definitely. And the ability to get up Trick Room early was sort of detrimental to Zelda, because their team seemed pretty fast, and it didn't seem like it wanted to be in Trick Room necessarily, especially with that Choice Scarf Urshifu. So we'll have to see if they go ahead and adjust, like bringing something like the Indeedee, or switching up their leads, or deciding maybe just to fake out the other slot and get rid of the Incineroar early. Who's to know? But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our game 2 here. And see how these trainers decide to adjust based on the game 1. We are going to see from Torviv's side that they're going to lead the Porygon 2 and Incineroar again. It certainly worked for them in game 1, so decided to go back to it. And Zelda's going to reveal the Sylveon and the Urshifu. So really interesting adjustment here. Going ahead and leading the Sylveon in the face of the Trick Room setter and Incineroar.
I like the lead from Zelda, like the Urshifu plus the Sylveon lead, but then again, we're in a spot where the Incineroar is gonna probably click Fake Out into something, and then just P2's gonna get free Trick Room right here. But Sylveon Ring is very interesting, but I'm not sure how well it would do versus like a Pokemon like Stack Attack in the back, or even Kartana if they did, Torviv did bring those Pokemon in the back, which could be a scenario.
Yeah, we are just going to see the Fake Out go into the Sylveon, not going to allow it to get something like Calm Mind up here. And the Urshifu is going to go ahead and Surging Strikes into the Incineroar. We'll have to see if it has enough defense investment and the right items to live the Surging Strikes. We are going to see it go down to about 60% here, and it's going to eat the Citrus Berry, so it should be able to live this next Surging Strikes. Torviv deciding to train the Incineroar to live this hit, and I would imagine the Porygon 2 is just going to set up a Trick Room at the end of this turn. Sylveon's going to go ahead and flinch, and the Trick Room is going to go up. So, I mean, Zelda still has the ability to do something like a Calm Mind, but it's at threat of the Parting Shot here, as we see the Leftovers recovery on Sylveon, and the Urshifu is kind of just, just sitting here, going to have to fire off some Surging Strikes in Trick Room.
Yeah, I was very surprised how well that instant took the Surging Strikes from Urshifu, to be honest. Even though it was Berry, it was still at a good 30% health left, so we'll see the switch out now from the Urshifu into the Incineroar to kind of, get the Urshifu out to save it in the better when Trick Room's over right there. Let's see if the Incineroar on Torviv's side does go for the Parting Shot into the Protect we did see right now. And let's see what the P2 does go for, because right now P2 is in a good position where it can't be KO'd by much on the field right now, so we'll see what's happened to P2.
Yep, and it is going to go for that Tri-Attack. Oh, and we do see the freeze on the Incineroar, which, is a bit annoying if you're Zelda, but, you could just go for something like a Flare Blitz and thaw out immediately. So, not the end of the world, I would say. You're just not able to go for something like a Fake Out this turn. But, yeah, Porygon 2 revealing that Tri-Attack, so that Urshifu was under some threat there.
Yes, and that's the thing with the freeze just now, because Zelda is in a position right now where they have to really click Flare Blitz, because they can't click Parting Shot because it won't thaw them out right now, in basically the freeze. So we see the withdraw of the P2 into the Tapu Fini, which is a great swap here, because right now Tapu Fini does look very good against both these Pokemon right now. So we'll see if the Incineroar goes for another Parting Shot into Sylveon to kind of get another swap out right there.
Yeah, well, maybe Torviv predicting that Flare Blitz. We are going to see the Sylveon go for a Calm Mind finally after 2 turns. It is going to go ahead and set up that +1 special attack and special defense. The Incineroar is going to go for a Parting Shot into the Sylveon, so that special attack buff is now negated. And Torviv has the opportunity to switch in something to put on even more offensive pressure, like the Kartana or the Stakataka. It would be interesting to see how Sylveon fares against 2 Steel types on the opposing team. And yeah, we'll have to see if this Incineroar decides to go for something like a Flare Blitz to thaw out. The Tapu Fini is now switched in to take the Flare Blitz from the anticipated Porygon 2 slot, and that is what we see here. Tapu Fini actually taking a pretty decent chunk. I wasn't expecting it to do that much. But yeah, now the Sakataka that Torviv brought in is in a pretty good offensive position.
Yeah, so right now I can see, because there's 2 more turns of Trick Room left, I can see the Sylveon going for Protect Parting Shot, kind of like stall 1 more turn out of Trick Room, and then probably next turn switching the instant slot for the Sylveon, kind of like, stall attack, Attack some more. But now we do see a Fini on the other side right now. Can either go for Spread Move or even maybe a Calm Mind. I'm not sure if they had running the Calm Mind set this week, but for the most part, that running sets typically means it could be Specs from what I've seen lately in Spike so far.
Yeah, definitely. And the Rillaboom's going to go ahead and switch in for the Incineroar, so maybe expecting a Body Press from the Stakataka, going to make a safe play to cover both the Gyro Ball and the Body Press by going for a Protect with the Sylveon. Gyro Ball is going to go into the Sylveon Protect, so very good prediction there. And the Tapu Fini is going to go for a Scald into the Rillaboom slot. We'll have to see how much this does and if it's able to get the burn. It is not able to get the burn. So Rillaboom is in a pretty good spot to just go for something like a Fake Out or maybe a Grassy Glide into the Tapu Fini. Although Torviv still has that Incineroar in the back along with the Porygon 2 to sort of mitigate the damage. It looks like Zelda's considering a Calm Mind here and a Fake Out.
Yeah, I'm very interested by Zelda's play right here, the Calm Mind and Fake Out right now, because the Stakataka does seem like it could be in a trouble spot right now. But we do see the switch back out from the Phoenix to kind of, predict the Glacier Guide and then have the P2 come take the spot right there. to kind of take the overall Grassy Glide, but we just see the fake out into Stack Attacker right there. So Stack Attacker can't move. And then we see the Combine coming out to kind of get this Sylveon as buff as possible to take as much hits as possible right there with the leftovers and Grassy Glide recovery going on.
Yeah, so, maybe Zelda's thinking trying to set up the Sylveon, cycle in fake outs, and get it behind a substitute so that the Stack Attack is not too much of an issue. They still have the Urshifu in the back, so maybe that's what they're thinking on how to deal with the Stack Attack up.
Yes, and we did see right there, we are going to see the substitute play, but before we see the high horsepower into the Stack Attack, that does do a lot of damage right there.
Yeah.
And then we see the free sub now from the Sylveon, which if the Sylveon doesn't get targeted this turn, then it's going to have a free turn. Okay, but we see the Gyro Ball into Sylveon just to make sure. And we'll most likely see a P2 going for Trick Room is my assumption right now.
Yep, Stack Attack are going to go ahead and take some Life Orb chips, so that's a pretty good reveal there for Zelda. And the Porygon 2 going to set up Trick Room just like you said. So although the Sylveon was able to get up a substitute, it is now broken, and Stack Attack is again putting on offensive pressure.
Yes, because right now it's the Stack Attack on both sides, because I'm not sure if the Grassy Glide will kill Stack Attacker from that range. But and then we did see in game 1 how much the Ice Beam does do to Rillaboom. So let's say if Torviv called to protect properly right now, then the double up into the Rillaboom could be big and just easily get the KO, which will make Feeny even better in the back. But we see the switch out right now, predicting the double up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Torviv expects this switch out, because it seems a little bit obvious from Zelda's side to try and cycle in the Intimidate users. We are going to see Torviv switch out the Porygon 2 for the Tapu Fini, so going to eliminate that Grassy Glide potential from the Rillaboom and opting to not switch in something like the Incineroar to mitigate the damage. But like you said, we're going to see the Rillaboom switch out for the Incineroar on Zelda's side, and that's going to put on some fake out pressure onto the Stack Attacker. But we'll have to see if there's a body press coming in for this Incineroar, which would, put Torviv's, it would give Torviv a lot of momentum because they lose that damage mitigation from Incineroar. Sylveon's going to go ahead and protect, and the Stack Attacker is going to just throw a Gyro Ball into the Sylveon. So, yeah, pretty interesting play there. I think Zelda should be able to just fake out the Stack Attacker and go over something like a substitute.
Yeah, I'm very interesting on this Stack Attacker moveset because we've only seen just Gyro Ball only for the attacking moves right there. I'm curious to see, because I believe it does have body press. Oh, now we see it protect. I think a Life Orb body press does one-shot the Incineroar, even after the drops, because the -1 drops doesn't affect body press at all. So we did see a substitute now from the Zelda going on right now.
Yep, and we do see the sub, and the Muddy Water is going to go ahead and connect both. This should knock out the Incineroar as it does. I think that almost confirms specs, because we've seen 2 water moves in Dazzling Gleam, and most calm mindsets don't have the flexibility to run both of those moves. But Sylveon able to get a sub here. We'll have to see if that's enough to bring this game back in Zelda's favor. And we are going to see them go ahead and switch back in Rillaboom.
Yes, because right now, so just from the switching right now, we'll probably confirm the Feeny is probably sexy. Probably hasn't seen, because they haven't seen protected all this whole time. But right now we see a Sylveon behind the screen, a Rillaboom on the field right now with fake out, and also too like high horsepower, just pressure right there. And the Feeny does not want to stay in front of this Rillaboom at all, because it would just get O-code right now from the Grassy Glides. So we see just one more, just hopefully a pivot out from the Feeny, so I'm just kind of save it right there. But I'm curious to see what wants to take the Hyper Voice plus the Grassy Glide hit right now.
Yes, exactly. Zelda has put himself in a very good position to go ahead and double up that slot in the Tapu Fini. Gyro Ball will only break the sub on Sylveon, so you do kind of expect, if you're Torviv, another fake out to go into Stack Attacker, since it just protects, so we'll have to see if they go ahead and switch out, but they do not. And the Grassy Glide goes into Tapu Fini, and that's just a one-hit KO, and it is a critical hit, but I think given the chip damage that Tapu Fini already had, that was probably not a factor in KOing it. We do see the Gyro Ball go into the Sylveon slot, and I believe it +1, or actually, I think the Sylveon's at neutral still, since it got parting shotted, but we'll have to see if the single target Hyper Voice, oh surely that's enough with the Life Orb chip. It's going to go ahead and go into the Stack Attacker, and it is going to be enough to take out the Stack Attacker. So Sylveon successfully taking out a Steel type that it definitely did not want to see in this match.
Yeah, so Sylveon is currently right now, it's just there's no more fiending. There's no stack attacker. So and there's I think the P2 left. So right now, I'm not sure if there's no Kartana right now. I'm not sure what really can like stop the Sylveon because I'm pretty sure like the leftovers sets are always very bulky. So Flare, like two Flare Blitz is gonna actually take the Incineroar after we went that route. But we see now an Incin versus P2 versus a Rillaboom Sylveon and our Urshifu in the back.
Yeah, definitely an interesting position here. I think Zelda should be able to sort of reposition in a way that Urshifu can clean up the Incineroar, and then it's just Porygon 2 versus the world in a sense. So we'll have to see if they're able to maneuver in a way for that to be possible. On Torviv's end, they're looking to deal as much damage out with these remaining Trick Room turns as possible, as the Ice Beam is going to go into Sylveon. Very interesting play there. And the Hyper Voice is going to come out. And is it going to KO the Incineroar? It is. It's going to be enough to KO the Incineroar. So now it is a 3v1 against this Porygon 2. And we do see the U-turn from the Rillaboom. Going to go ahead and reset that Intimidate drop and get in the Urshifu, which should be able to just fire off close combats until this Porygon 2 is no longer.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the combination of close combat plus Hyper Voice just gets the P2. And I think P2 has some chip damage on it already, so the CC would easily pick up the P2, just no problem right there. And then the Hyper Voice just extra. Oh yeah, CC definitely picks up at that range for Porygon right there for sure. No worries. And we did see the Trick Room turns is all over now. So the fastest Pokemon, which will be Urshifu, is gonna definitely go fast and just win the game right here. So great game coming right now from Zelda. Oh no, so we see the cancel. Yep, perfect.
Yeah, so a really good adjustment there. Leading the Sylveon in the face of potentially two Steel types and just committing to setting it up early, really doing a good job at cycling in those fake out users and putting on pressure with the substitute, and taking some really key knockouts like the Grassy Glide from the Rillaboom, and putting yourself in a position where Sylveon and Urshifu could clean up.
Yeah, and I know we haven't seen the Kartana yet on Torviv set, but I do think with Urshifu and Sylveon, Kartana seems very, very good. Maybe a little bit better than I'd say Stack Attacker, because Stack Attacker does really get destroyed by Urshifu's close combat and shorting strike. So Kartana could be, I think, a little bit better choice for the Steel types for this matchup because it just one-shots both the Urshifu, I'm pretty sure it's Leaf Blade with probably a crit, and then Sylveon doesn't want to take a Smart Strike from Kartana at all.
Yeah,
So we'll see
yeah,
the follow-up right now.
definitely. And you'd think the Stack Attacker would be enough to scare off the Sylveon, especially in Trick Room, but Zelda was able to play around it and do some really good work with it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into our game 3 here. We'll have to see if Zelda commits to that Sylveon mode again. But like you mentioned, Torvi's going to go ahead and switch it up completely, going with the Raichu and Kartana, the two mons we haven't seen from their end. And Zelda going to go ahead and go Landorus Sylveon. So some really, really strong special attacking offensive pressure here from Zelda.
Oh, I like both of these leads from Zelda and Torviv because we know Raichu was normally carries Fake Out, and then Kartana right now, Leaf Blade into any one of these Pokemon or Smart Strike are going to do a lot of damage, but we are going to see the pivot out into the Incineroar to kind of just get the Intimidate on the Kartana slot to mitigate the damage overall. But are we going to see the Fake Out into the Landorus spot because Earth Power from either these Pokemon, they don't want to take that threat all from Landorus, so we see the switch out into the Incineroar right now.
Yep, and we do see the Intimidate going to go off on the Kartana. We'll have to see if it's holding something like a White Herb to sort of negate this attack drop, but no signs so far. And we were just going to see a Fake Out go into the Landorus, correctly predicting that it was going to stay in. And Kartana's going to go for a Guillotine, trying to one-shot this Incineroar, and it's going to miss. Without Dynamax, something like an Assault Vest Kartana has the option to run Guillotine because it no longer needs max Airstream necessarily, so very interesting to see that there.
I'm a big fan, Angelo, as you know, the wanted KO moves.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, if that Guillotine had hit the Incineroar right there, Torviv would have been in a great spot because all he takes is to get one kill. That's all it takes. But we see the Fake Out now back into the Raichu slot right there, which does, okay, that's a crit. That does a lot of damage right there. Yeah. But do we see the Earth Power into the Kartana slot right there, which does so much damage. Almost took the full KO right there. But we see the miss again for the Guillotine.
Yeah, so Torviv committed to clicking Guillotine with this Kartana, taking a critical hit Fake Out from the Raichu there. Very interesting. And yeah, Zelda's in a really good position, I feel like, because we saw that the Landorus is faster on their end, and Torviv does not have a lot of switch-ins to ground types, and I don't believe this Raichu is capable of mitigating any damage from the Landorus on Zelda's side, but we'll have to see what it goes for here. Interesting to see that Kartana go ahead and go for another guillotine, as the Raichu goes for a Volt Switch into the Incineroar. Does a pretty good chunk. Gonna go ahead and switch in something that favors better against this Landorus. But I'd imagine the Earth Power into Kartana should be able to just finish it off, as we do see the Incineroar come in. It's not going to want to take this Earth Power at all either. So, yeah, definitely an interesting position. The Landorus is going to go ahead and go for an Earth Power into the Kartana, and that's going to clean it up. So the Sylveon, unless the Stack Attack is in the back, should just have free reign to set up and win.
Yeah, because the Landorus now into the game 3 with a great brain, because all the Pokemon we've seen on Torviv's side, they don't want to take an Earth Power at all from Lando, because Insane, Raichu, Card, Earth Power does way too much damage to those, and then since now we just got rid of the counter to Sylveon. Sylveon right now really has free range to kind of just go crazy right now with Calm Mind, just Hyper Voice, because now Instant really doesn't want to be in front of the Lando, because it will get one shot by the EP right now. So very, very great turn from Zelda and great lead from Zelda in this game 3.
Yeah, we did see the Citrus Berry on Incineroar earlier on in the game, so yeah, definitely not going to be able to live the Earth Power from the Landorus. I do believe they require the Assault Vest to live something like that, and since the Kartana was able to live, it's pretty much confirmed that the Kartana was holding the Assault Vest on that side. Pretty interesting. We're going to see Zelda go ahead and go for a double protect. Just doesn't want to get faked out at all. Definitely understand this play. You don't want to take any unnecessary damage at this point, especially when you have the Pokemon count in your favor. We are going to see the Tapu Fini go for a Muddy Water, which would do a lot to the Landorus, especially since we are convinced that it is that Choice Specs variant. And the Incineroar are going to go for a Flare Blitz into the Landorus, just in case that Muddy Water wasn't able to pick up the knockout.
Yeah, Torviv definitely went all in that play into the Landorus spot, just kind of get rid of the Landorus altogether right there. But now we're going to see the Landorus now, after the double protect, is going to go to Earth Power the Incineroar now, and then we'll see the Sylveon going for, is it the Hyper Voice right now to kind of get chip damage overall. Oh, okay, never mind. We see the Hyper Voice. Sorry, we see the Hyper Voice into the both right now. Kind of get this extra chip down both of them. And Ensign, if it's not AV, does never take that hit at all. So now we're going to see a single target Hyper Voice into the Feeding right now, but does the Specs probably kill the Lander from this range? Yeah, easily. Okay.
Yeah, so the Muddy Water are going to go ahead and take out the Landorus. No accuracy drops, thankfully, for Zelda. Going to go ahead and get a single target Hyper Voice off, and that does a lot of damage, even to a very bulky Tapu Fini, and we're going to see the leftovers recovery here. I think, maybe Torviv could have gotten out of that one with some accuracy drops, but I think given that this Urshifu is Choice Scarf, I think that it should be able to finish off the Raichu. Even if Raichu goes for a fake out into the Urshifu, that Tapu Fini is almost certainly locked into Muddy Water, so it's not going to be able to get rid of the Urshifu anytime soon.
Yeah, and we also saw Zelda didn't bring the Rillaboom. He does have Instant in the back, so I'd say Fini is a priority right now to kind of get rid of, because, I mean, the Specs Fini doesn't keep doing a lot of chip damage overall, but if the Urshifu does go down right here from the fake out Muddy Water, plays into a lot of chip damage overall. So we see the fake out into the Urshifu to kind of, Fini Muddy Water kind of get chipped down there.
Yep, and we are going to see the Muddy Water go out, so that does confirm the Choice Specs. Going to do a good chunk to both still. It is pretty powerful with that Choice Specs. And we're going to see an accuracy drop on the Urshifu. So if there's one way out for Torviv, this is it. Unfortunately, the Hyper Voice does not get its accuracy lowered. So that is going to go ahead and take the Raichu down to red. I believe Zelda is still in a position where they could probably just switch out the Urshifu for the Incineroar and sort of negate that accuracy drop and still finish off the game with Urshifu.
Yeah, because the accuracy drops in games at times like this, it could be very, very costly, because all it takes for you to miss one 100% accuracy move to really put you in a very bad spot, especially like asserting strikes right now into, let's say, either or slot. It's just a lot could be just kind of like, it'll happen right there. But we do see the pivot out into the Incineroar slot with the Urshifu, but that means this And sooner we're gonna come into a most likely Specs Muddy Water coming from the Phoenix right now, which I don't think this survives it at all either.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see if this Incineroar sacrifice pays off here. If Sylveon's gonna go for a protect, doesn't want to take any damage. The Raichu's gonna go for a Volt Switch into the Incineroar and take it down to its berry. So if it's special defense invested, then it might be able to live this Muddy Water still. Gonna go for the Muddy Water, Tapu Fini into the protect from the Sylveon, and this should does connect with the Incineroar. We'll have to see if it KOs. It does. I think that almost confirms that it's specs at this point.
Oh
So
yeah.
the Incineroar is going to go down, and the Urshifu is able to come in with no accuracy drops now, and it will basically come down to if it's able to knock out the Tapu Fini in time for the Sylveon to finish up the game.
Yes, because I know right now with the Muddy Water right now, Sylveon should be able to take one more also with Urshifu, so certain strikes into the Raichu, get rid of the Raichu. And I believe the single targeted Hyper Voice would leave just a little bit of this, just enough right there to survive this turn, but it's gonna be very, very close though overall.
Yeah, I think if the Muddy Water, since Tapu Fini's faster than the Sylveon, if you take out the Raichu and then you get a double accuracy drop with Muddy Water, I think that could maybe bring you back into it, but I think the odds are still in Zelda's favor. They're going to go ahead and go for the Surging Strikes into Raichu. It's going to take it out in one hit easy, and the Tapu Fini is going to retaliate with the Muddy Water here. We'll have to see how much this damage is going to do to both of these mons here. It actually does a pretty good chunk. Not very effective on the Urshifu, and it is an accuracy drop on the Hyper Voice on the Sylveon, and it's going to miss. So this just got a lot more interesting because that Tapu Fini, I don't know how much is left on it exactly, but it might still be able to live a Surging Strikes from this Urshifu. Oh, it's going to be close.
I think it does live it because the first time it did about like slightly less than the amount of HP it has right now. So we'll find out right now.
Yeah, Surging Strike's going to go ahead into Tapu Fini. We'll have to see if it gets the KO. Oh, it's going to be close. We can see the first hit there. It takes it down to the red.
Yeah.
Second one goes off, and the third one, oh, it just barely lives on with a sliver there. So we'll have to see if this Muddy Water connects. It is going to connect. Is it going to get the double knockout? This is a Choice Specs Muddy Water. It is going to... Oh, my goodness. Sylveon lives on 1 HP. Let's see if it gets off the Hyper Voice at -1 accuracy, and it does. Wow. What an absolute game that was. That was the most crazy ending we could have had to that game.
You were right, Angelo. When there's a Muddy Water accuracy drop, there's a way.
There sure is. And that win, as we saw briefly there, is going to give the Colossals the win for the week. And what an exciting fashion. Yeah, I mean, Torviv just kept believing in that Tapu Fini, just kept clicking Muddy Water. And I think that was like the only circumstance where the game could have been close. And thankfully, Sylveon was trained in just the right way to live that Muddy Water at the end there.
Yes, for sure. That was a very close game because not every day you get hit down to 1 HP just to hit return back to win the game. That was a very, very good game, and GG's from both our opponents this week.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to end this stream. We definitely saved the most exciting game for last. So, yeah, thank you again for everybody for sticking around for the entire stream. I really appreciate it. We are going to throw it back to Izzy and Evan to wrap up the stream, but that's it for me and KD, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good night, guys.